My name's Avid, and I've spent the last 2 years working on this adventure map with one goal in mind: add an endgame to Minecraft. This is Avid Adventures. I think I might have a problem with making Minecraft bosses in that I can't stop doing it, because today we're making another boss fight right here in this room, and we're making an entire city in the clouds, and I've got a kid coming in 2 weeks. Can I get this done in time? Oh, look, it's all my dead friend's stuff. Is that Whimsy's head? This is highly collectible. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting this video done in time, but you better bet your butts we're gonna try. As many of you know, we have 7 quests on the Adventures server, and a while ago, I introduced the Dark Path system, which allows you to beat quests as a good guy or a bad guy. What a smart way of me to milk all of my existing content. We only have a Dark Path for Ebonglade and Vilethorn. So with this new boss, I actually want to make it a part of the Dark Path for the Deep. This is an underwater city built by an AI, whose name, of course, is Al, who was unfortunately corrupted by dark magic from the old one. He's the bad guy in this story. Enter our hero, who, working with the engineer Nicholas, who created Al, defeats the corrupted version and resets him back into a toaster. So now that you're all caught up, I have to think about what is the bad guy path for this quest. Or, you know, instead of just thinking about things, because why would we want to do that? I could just ask my patrons and channel members. By the way, I have channel memberships now, and you can use Al's face as an emoji, and it's really awesome, and thank you for supporting the channel. So here's what the bad guy version of this quest is gonna look like. In this quest, players need to disable core functions of Al in order to weaken him and reset him. They need to take out the reactor core, the radio tower, and the boiler room. And with these 3 items in hand, players can trade with Nicholas for a key to Al. Great, so now we have a key. How do we make it evil? Well, Twixie had the amazing idea to go into Al's mainframe and reprogram him from the inside. And of course, this would corrupt Al indefinitely. So just outside of the save room, there's this brand new mysterious doorway. And if players enter the doorway, they see this extremely dark and terrifying hallway, which then leads to an equally terrifying hallway with a dark figure at the end. In this case, I beat Ebonglade as a good guy, and so he's telling me I need to go back to Ebonglade and take the dark path. But if I was evil in Ebonglade, then things get very different.
There is true evil in your soul, I can sense it.
Yes.
That is why Ohm sent me to you. Your plan is to reset the AI and purge Ohm's dark magic.
That was the plan.
We know. But Ohm has bigger plans. Plans to corrupt the AI indefinitely. Reach out your hand and I'll give you a key.
So at this point, I'm using an interaction entity to see if the player clicks the disciple.
Oh, the blood sacrifice has been accepted. It is done. You now have the resonator. Listen to me carefully. Once the AI has booted, place this resonator beneath him. You'll be transported into his mind. Survive? And Ohm will be quite pleased.
So not only did we get this harmonic resonator, but also, if you notice, my health is permanently reduced for this boss fight. Holy cow. I just finished up the intro to this boss fight, and guys, it's kind of scary. So are you ready? Players are going to start the Al fight just as normal, except now they have the harmonic resonator in hand. They get to the front of the screen here.
Good. Now to press the resonator.
They press the button, and then guys, I hope you're ready for this.
Like a moth to the flame, here you are, drawn to where you are most vulnerable. Oh, Avid, this is going to be so much fun.
What do you think? I mean, guys, that intro sequence is probably the coolest intro sequence I have ever made. So naturally, the room that the boss lives in has to be just as cool. Oh, and I have big plans for how Al's faces are gonna show up on the wall. And oh, you're just gonna have to wait to see till the end of the video. So yes, with every boss comes a plan board. I imagine we're going to fill it in the rest of the episode, but we do have one item done here. The crazy Al face entrance hall is done. This boss is going to have a heavy computer science theme, and so all of the attacks are going to be really complicated, like the firewall. Based on my plan, I need to cover this floor in a bunch of markers to act as metadata for the attacks. So let's do that in a time lapse. So when I say I need a boatload of markers, I mean there needs to be a marker on every 5th block in this arena. Then I went around the edges and marked north, south, east, and west, and just look at how cool this constellation of markers looks. Sometimes, guys, programming can be beautiful, and this is definitely one of those times. But you know what isn't beautiful? It turns out that my room was mismeasured, and so I had to basically completely redo every single wall. And because we were off-centered, I also had to completely recenter the crazy Al face room, and you know what, guys? It was totally worth it. So now that we have all of our markers downstairs, it's time to start on these attacks. But before we do, I have a date in the sky with Zeppelington. I said I was going to be building an entire city in the clouds on top of an entire boss fight. Doesn't that seem like a little much? Anyways, Zeppelington is going to be here in only a couple of hours. Problem is, I told him I would build the clouds. And do you see any clouds up there yet? How can we build believable clouds in under 2 hours? Well, I happen to have a crazy idea. These armor stands are going to start creating these little snowballs. Then I need to code each one of these into a structure block, and then a handy dandy armor stand randomizer. Okay, and now hooking that up to a scoreboard, there is our randomizer. All I should have to do is give myself the Cloudmaker tag and hope everything, I think it's working. I think we're ready for prime time. I started by filling out the rectangles of my big fluffy cloud in a rough and crude way, and I had a very specific shape in mind. I wanted to make one giant cloud to hold this beautiful cloud city, and so I connected the tops up with ramps. Then I started to work on filling out the underside, and I just love how the shading worked out here with the different cloud depths. It's so cool. Now you can start to see the shape I took inspiration from, a ship lodged in a nearby iceberg. Oh my gosh. This has got to be my first mega structure. I mean, it's hard to even gauge the scale of this thing until you get down on your feet and try to run it. I'm still running, and there's a whole bottom part. I mean, imagine a city here filled with shops and booths and people. And now, of course, it's time to get our friend Zeppelington. So let's get to work. Usually when I narrate these time lapses, I talk about the builds, my process, how I feel about it, but this time it's a little different. Working with Zepp, this build is beyond anything I thought we were capable of. When I sent him these shots, all he could say to me was, "I am so proud of us." Proud! As a Minecraft content creator for almost 2 years, I often find myself wondering, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the project that the world is going to see? And each time a video goes out, I wait and I wonder, while the world remains unaware. But that doesn't stop me, because every video gets a little better. Every project gets a little bigger, or in this case, a lot bigger. So while the world bides its time, completely unaware of new Cloud's Rest, I can still rest easy, knowing how proud I can make you, the viewer, my people. Well, guys, it's official. After over 2 days of building with Zeppelington, the beginnings of new Cloud's Rest are here. I mean, it's hard to describe how much detail has gone into this project and also how much is left. And when you come down here on the ground, you realize the scale and size of these builds. And as much as I want to keep working on this, we kind of have to get back to our boss fight. So yeah, it's time to say goodbye to Cloud's Rest for now and head back down to the deep. And I know I've said it before, but go follow Zeppelington. He's doing a whole series of videos on these gorgeous builds. They're all his. Oh man, Cloud's Rest 2 is gonna be an epic quest. But guys, it's time to get back to our Evil AI. More specifically, I want to start on the firewall attack. As you guys know, I've been playing around a lot with display entities, and when I found this one, I knew I had to use it for this boss fight. A wall of flames will emerge along any wall in this arena, like so. And this wall is going to move from one end of the arena to the other. And of course, if players get caught up in this wall, they are completely vaporized. But if you notice, a couple of these flames are not like the other. Those are the holes in the firewall. And these holes are the key to player survival because they don't damage the player. So a little bit of command blocking later, and check this out. Firewalls can spawn from any one of the sides, and you can spawn multiple of them at the same time. What it does is it requires players to really think about where they're standing and their positioning. And of course, these also deal burn damage that instantly vaporizes the player. You get the idea. And in talking about player positioning, I also have another attack here that looks crazy, like a giant checkerboard, right? And what this is doing is showing players that a bunch of lightning bolts are about to spawn. I'm calling that attack the Overload. Next up on my list of attacks, I want something that happens every time you deal damage to Al. And so every time players damage Al, it causes a null pointer exception, which starts with these yellow squares, and then eventually they turn into voids that go all the way down to the bottom of the world. And as you can tell, this really adds another layer of difficulty to this boss fight. And with that attack done, our board is starting to fill out super nicely. But there is one thing that I really want to focus on next. And that, of course, is, I swear, I cannot handle these slimes. As I was saying, the way that players are going to deal damage to Al is going to be through a puzzle. You see, I kind of want this fight to be a little bit like chess boxing. Wait, have you seriously never heard of chess boxing? It goes something like this. There are alternating rounds of chess and boxing, and whoever wins by knockout or checkmate wins the game. And I can already picture the comments now. Avid, what are you doing in that boxing arena? You said you were gonna do something with that like a year ago. I'm teaching you something with it, so there you go. Okay, but really I should do something with this boxing ring at some point. Anyways, what the heck does chess boxing have to do with our Evil AI boss fight? Taking inspiration from our original boss fight, players are going to have to survive a certain amount of time until Al runs out of energy. Slowly, Al is going to begin to recharge, and players are going to have to solve a puzzle in a limited amount of time. So let's talk about the puzzle. And you know what? Instead of talking, I'm gonna do some showing. Get hacked. Binary. And the source code reveals itself. And reflections. And right click and left click. This is extremely satisfying. And then a little flip and off they go. And perfect. Okay, well that was a little montage of madness, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm going for. So when Al's battery is drained, a port is going to open up from the floor that reveals a leak in his source code. Players are going to have this handy dandy hacking fork that they can use to extract that source code from the leak. And I just love these little text displays. Next up are the reflectors, and these things are how players actually solve the puzzle, because what they do is they reflect the source code in the direction they're facing. And if you're curious, the code to do all of that is just in these 4 command blocks, and you you can pause the video to check it out. And in terms of rotating the reflectors, that was also super stinking easy with interaction entities. Okay, so we have source code that is getting leaked, we have reflectors that route that source code into different directions, and finally, there are destinations where this source code needs to be injected. So you could say, in a way, we are manually reprogramming Al. For evil, of course. But this doesn't seem too difficult of a puzzle. Surely we can go deeper. And deeper we went. So the puzzle's gotten a bit more complicated, but this is how it's going to work. The code that flies out of this source block is green, which means it looks for green destinations. And if the code runs into a destination of the wrong color, you fail the puzzle. And that's also going to charge Al's batteries a little bit more. And the goal is pretty simple. You have 4 code bits, you have 4 destinations. You want to change the color of the bits to match the destinations until all 4 of them are gone. And in this case, we are now stuck in a loop. So all I should have to do is flip this one and boom. So as you can see, I've made a bunch of visual improvements. Let's be honest, this block is so ugly that even when you need an arrow, it is still not the best option. So I opted for quartz stairs, and I also made this little sound and particle animation when you move them around. And the destinations now look like these little digital pumpkins. So all I should have to do is save this into a structure block with entities on, and now I can reload this configuration at any time. And to give this fight some replayability, I need to make a few different puzzle patterns as well as a bunch of puzzle difficulties. Time-lapse? It took me nearly 3 hours to come up with 21 different puzzles of varying difficulties. And honestly, I could have made more. I mean, these things are ridiculously fun to create. So what I did is I cloned the entire room, and now this is going to be a standalone minigame on the server. I'd love to know from you guys what new mechanics we can add to it in the future. Leave a comment, and while you do, I'm gonna go and get all of these command blocks put upstairs. And I've packaged that whole command mess into this little contraption here, along with an armor stand randomizer for level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And with the damage puzzle out of the way, guys, we are actually getting pretty close to finishing this boss. And before we work on the final attack, such as the super beam, I have a crazy idea to handle Al's faces. I present to you the emotional processing unit. Each of these columns represents a different Al face down below, and each row is a different expression. And the reason I organized it this way is because with just one command, I can turn all of the faces into low battery or any of the other emotions. I'm kind of using a downside of command blocks to my advantage. Let's see how this looks. Wow, the room is very empty without all the Al faces. If I push this, it's all sad Al faces. Nice. So with our hacky face tech in place, it is now time to work on the super beam, which I'm not gonna do. I'm not doing it because I have an even better idea. You see, my goal with the super beam was to make a very large area dangerous, but a super beam just doesn't really fit the theme of this boss fight. So enter disc defragmentation. These spinning beams create very dangerous areas for players. If the beam runs into the player, they get defragmented, deleted. As for the last couple of items here, there are of course bugs in the code, which can be deleted by a pretty good trident throw. And our final attack, if you guys can believe it, is called the recycle bin. Al is going to empty his recycle bin, which creates these purple bombs everywhere. If players run into these bombs, they get a whole bunch of damage. And that's all of the attacks and mechanics. Did I overdo this one? Who cares? Let's play it!
This is going to be so much fun.
Yes, let's do this! I am not gonna give up. I am super nervous, but here we go. So the first thing that players are going to see is this tiny little puzzle here that shows them some of the basic mechanics. The hacking fork is embedded in this lodestone, and when players walk near it, they get this awesome message. Hopefully the fact that it's stuck in the lodestone, players will know to throw the fork at the lodestone, and of course they can also read the lore text. Now, there's no penalty for getting this puzzle wrong. This puzzle's just intended to show players the basic mechanics. So if we turn that reflector, this should start the boss fight. And here we
Let's begin.
go.
Engaging my firewall.
So this starts off kind of tense. All of the firewalls activate at once, and you have to dodge in 4 different directions.
Critical bug detected.
We have a bunch of bugs. They are going to turn into these little blue orbs, which give players a very nice speed bonus.
Engaging
Every
firewall.
time Al uses one of his attacks, his energy goes down. And once that energy hits 0, we're going to have to solve a puzzle in order to damage Al.
Engaging firewall.
Now, recycling bins are getting emptied around us. Holy cow. All right, so far so good. Okay, there we go, you guys. Now we are on to level 2 of the puzzle. And if you get it wrong, well, Al's batteries recharge.
10% charge.
And if they recharge all the way, you have to do that attack phase all over again. Green pumpkin, then go through the blue transformer into the
something
blue
doesn't feel
pumpkin.
right.
Oh my gosh, a void hole is about to open up on the floor. And now we have disc defragmentation.
It's defragmentation in progress.
Really scares me. There is going to be a
System
lot
just
that we
full.
have to keep track of, and we just have to be super careful and
You
not
are-
get too close to the center where the defragmentation is occurring. Side, that would be, oh my gosh, did you see how close that was? Out of energy, Al. Please run out of energy. Oh gosh, I can't. We should be dead right now. Get this green pumpkin first, like so, and then the red pumpkin should get taken care of. Throw it towards the blue, and this phase is where everything is going to try to kill us. Fortunately, no disc defragmentation yet. Throw it. Okay, lightning and defrag is over there and over there. Okay. I'm gonna go over to this side of the arena. Firewall from this side. Yes, I can see it, and we are getting a few firewalls from this side, though I can't really see them right now. There's one on our left. So we are gonna go green first. We hit blue, then we turn red. Okay. I think this is gonna work out. Let's see how it goes. Green, good. Okay, it comes up to blue. We hit blue pumpkin, we turn red, good stuff. Red pumpkin, okay, now we just flip this one in this direction. It's blue, but then it turns red. And this is it, you guys. This is it. Uh-oh.
Error. Evan,
Yeah?
what have you done?
Well,
Installing new kernel.
uh-oh. What is that? Oh, we're booting back up. Good.
Installation complete.
Oh. What?
Well done. The AI is now under my control.
Oh,
Though Nicholas won't suspect a thing.
I see.
You have proven yourself to me. Continue to do
Okay.
so, and I will make you more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Well.
Avid, I'm getting some strange readings over here. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, everything's fine. Everything's great. I fixed Al. Yep.
Let me take care of this.
Okay. Oh,
There we go.
Huh, well, whatever you did fixed it. Let's get you out of there.
I did it.
I'll be seeing you soon.
You're welcome. Holy cow, I cannot believe I actually finished this episode. If you guys like this content, I suggest you subscribe. And if you want to see more of this content, I highly recommend you check out this submarine mega boss episode that I'm showing right now. But until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.